This is it. We've come to the end. And in honor of the season finale of Magiranger, I've decided to dress up like Lord Dark Demon. You can be honest with me. Are the Sauron gloves that were made for a 10-year-old helping or hindering the outfit? I mean, I'm not gonna wear these the entire video, so without any further ado, let's go talk about wizards now!
The wizards battle Toad for their mother's soul, briefly think she's dead a second time, but eventually reunite with her. She was never dead the first time, I guess. Together as a family, they rescue Hikaru from the Frog-pocalypse and defeat Toad.
I will die on the hill that Hikaru is in love with Tsubasa. Note how he only mentions 2 people in the group of 5 who are trying to rescue him. His pretend lover and his real lover. I don't know why I like this so much, but there's something about the way the giant metal Megazord is gingerly holding this little tiny basket of brambles with their mother in it. It's like, oh, I don't want to crush it. Wait, these guys are fighting? I honestly don't remember their fight starting. So this is just happening as far as I'm concerned. But, oh no, I really like him. And Nanny and May are gonna be so upset when he gets killed. Tsubasa needs therapy. I mean, they all need therapy. They've been through a lot of trauma. But this scene is just really reminding me of that episode where Tsubasa completely freaked out multiple times because everyone was getting killed by a sniper. Legitimate reason to freak out. But I honestly think the other ones could kind of push the trauma down and still function in society. I don't think he can still function in society. Like, I think he needs to go to therapy right now, or he won't be able to, like, get a job or have friends. It's pretty bad. Guys, I get that you're upset, but, like, she was already dead. She was already dead. I understand it's upsetting because now she's died again, but we've processed for so long. We already dealt with her being dead because she was already dead. Is this a me problem? Am I callous? This is a me problem. I'm saying it out loud. I can hear it. It's a me problem. Pom Pom Head of Doom. Pom Pom Head of Power. Pom Pom Head of Destruction. They were finally able to find their mother, and all they had to do to accomplish this was drop acid together. Why? Why are their faces in the clouds? That lens flare is dope. It's like badass neon rave makeup. I should try that. Also, this actress is delivering, like, real tears, bitch. And fuck you, Mom, okay? If I'm crying when you come back to life after you've been dead for, like, 2 months, and you come at me with, what is this nonsense? Stop being silly. Fuck off. I am allowed to have emotions. Yeah, it's so great to see you. By the way, your husband's not dead. Okay, these are like 22 to 25-year-olds, and she's 30. So did she have kids before she reached double digits? How does that work exactly? I mean, look at Makito. Look at Makito. He's looking like he's about, what, 28? He's 28 and she's 32. She had him when she was 4 years old. Like, I need to talk to the casting director for a second. Also, while we're telling you all of the important things that happened while you were dead, your husband's still alive. I thought you might like to know. They just get a call like, oh, hey, Hikaru's dead. And they're like, oh, right. We were supposed to be helping that guy. I mean, for real. Hikaru and Jinji are dead. They're screwed. They're in so much trouble. They're getting their butt whooped hardcore. Oh man, I forgot how cool his pre-morph suit is. I want it.
Jinji is dead, that's why they're not showing him. Oh, fuck! Frogs! Fucking frogs! Oh god! Oh god, it's raining frogs!
The frogs are frozen. This brings up a new question, because I don't think that actually fixed anything. Because now, instead of having frogs rain down on them, the world is going to be crushed by a giant chunk of ice that she's created in the air. I mean, what's holding that ice up there? It would just, whole city's gone, demolished, flattened. Worse than frogs.
It was really cold when they filmed this. Look how you can see their breath. I mean, they probably filmed it really early in the morning, which is why it's so cold, and no one's around. And the lighting is really good. It always is early in the morning. Why are they being so formal? I mean, they know each other. He's her husband's apprentice. I mean, culture in Japan is much more formal. Also, I know sexism probably presents itself differently in Japanese culture than it does in American, but this really, I mean, I guess also she's their mom, so maybe it's a little more complicated than, nope. No, it's just sexism. The woman's whole purpose is to have babies and feed them. She has been alive for all of 10 minutes, and they're already like, take care of me, mommy. I want you to cook for me. They don't even have time to be like, oh, by the way, you're a boss. Thanks for saving everyone from the Frog-pocalypse, and by the way, your husband's still alive. Or, you know, he was alive a minute ago. Oh my god, is she actually nice to him? Is he excited to see her because she's the only person who's nice to him? I mean, that is the nicest anyone has ever been to that plant. I hate you. My camera will not stop not focusing sometimes. And I, finished the whole shot. I've said all the things I want to say. My performance was good. I don't want to refilm it. So now I just have blurry footage.
It is Mr. Pom Pom Head's turn to destroy the human realm, but Houka notices something different about him from the other Infurtia gods. He doesn't want to hurt people. Pom Pom is chosen as the vessel for the big bad to return, but after his talks with Houka, he refuses. To protect the realms from the big bad's return, Houka escorts Mr. Pom Pom Head to the Lake of Metaphorical Death. Makito begrudgingly helps until he and Pom Pom become friends too. In the end, the Bat God kicks the wizards' butts hard. Daddy Purple Wizard has to step in and save them. Fish Head kills Pom Pom Head, and the big bad is back, baby!
It's just a nice little trash fire. Everybody cozying up around the warm little trash fire. Man, his head really is just a whole fish. Just a whole fish, which is wild. At first I thought he threw up, but apparently that's blood. And how insecure is this motherfucker? Like, he really liked them before he didn't want anyone to know that he was coughing up blood. And I mean, come on, man. You should probably tell someone. If you're coughing up blood, I don't know, you need to go to Demon Hospital. Is there a Demon Hospital?
Beauty, something is fishy here. You may or may not be aware that there's actually a pre-Roman pagan deity known as Dagon, the fish god. In fact, he had a body that was part fish and part human. He had a tail of a fish that dragged the ground, and above his head, his human head, was a fish head. The direct successor of the high priest of the Babylonian mysteries was the servant of the fish god Dagon. And the Pope actually wears a hat known as a mitre, which is meant to resemble this head of Dagon. It looks just like a fish head with its jaws slightly open, and this is like the hat that the Roman emperors wore, which is where the Catholics got it. Dagon is depicted in Mesopotamian sculpture as a man that has the head of a fish, formed as a mitre above the head of a man, and a scaly fan-like tail that fell as a cloak behind, leaving the human limbs and feet exposed. I wish I had a fish hat.
As the show progresses, we get more and more scenes where Hikaru is with his real lover and his fake lover. I mean, just look at them making eyes at each other over the breakfast table. And then she gets mad because she's like, you're supposed to be with me. I mean, it's clear. It is clear that he is in love with Tsubasa. Yeah, you forgot to tell her. Her husband is still alive. No, not Houka. Her husband is still alive. Or he was. I mean, did they tell her off screen? I actually like that chair a lot. Okay, so this scene had me wondering if Makito is now realizing that their mother's in charge again, and he's grumpy that she's back because he liked being master of the house, you know? I mean, look at his face there. He got a taste of power, and he's not ready for it to be snatched away by the wisdom of a mother who's like, just let Houka do whatever she wants. Stop being a controlling freak. Which, honestly, someone needs to tell him that from time to time. How does she know? How does she know her husband is alive? This is a fantastic shot, and actually, it's so good, they completely redid the same type of shot for Mystic Force. Look! same shot. And I have to talk about these two episodes and the difference between Sentai and Power Rangers, because the plot makes so much more sense when you have Houka as the one doing it than it does when you have Vida doing it. Because Vida is this kind of standoffish, grunge-style character, and then when she suddenly wants to play ball with Frankenstein, it makes it feel so cartoonish. Like, the writing didn't put in the work for that plot line to make sense. But with Houka, the writing has been putting in the work for that plot line since episode 1. She's always doing some crazy thing and not paying attention and, collecting things that other people don't like, or talking to people that other people don't like, or doing things that other people are like, why would you do that? So it completely makes sense that she would just suddenly be friends with one of the evil gods. I do also love that Houka calls him the same thing I do. She calls him Mr. Big Head, and I call him Pom Pom Head. Should start calling him Mr. Pom Pom Head. It was meant to be. This was the scene I was most curious to see how they adapted into Power Rangers, because I remember this scene being in Power Rangers, so I know they didn't just cut it, but there are so many unmorphed people, and not like a cutaway to one person who's not in their costume. They're with other people in their suits, so it completely ruins the entire shot of all the other people in their suits. Also, you were coughing up blood yesterday. You are in no place to be threatening to kill someone, especially not Mr. Pom Pom Head, because he has the Pom Pom of Doom. Makito has proven himself not to be an idiot. Like, he's observant, and all the chips are laid out in front of him, and yet he's stunned in this situation like a deer in the headlights. I mean, you saw Pom Pom Head say, nope, I'm not gonna do it, and you saw the other guy threatened to kill him, saying he was doing it to bring back Lord Dark Demon. You heard good points made by your sister. And not only that, but now she is fighting with 2 other people and keeps getting hit really hard, and you're just standing there. And then when these other guys run up and they say, hey, what's going on, man? And he says, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You know exactly what's going on. You just haven't made a decision yet, but that does not mean that you don't know what's going on. He has really nice fingernails. Also, if you ran up to a situation in which your sister was having a fight with 2 evil gods and Makito was just standing there, why are you going to run up and be like, hey, what's going on, Makito? What are we doing? What are we doing right now? Like, he is not cooler than you just because he's your big brother. You can make your own decisions. And it seems to me the obvious decision in here is to help Houka before she dies. I really love this cutaway scene of Gingy just being like, whatever, man, stay in your lane. The train scene's really interesting because in Mystic Force, it's just Vida on the train, whereas in the Sentai, it is Makito and Houka. But since when the guy comes in, he first hits Makito and smashes him down in between the seats, and you don't see him at all during the fight, they just pretended he wasn't there in Mystic Force, which to me, for some reason, is delightful because I feel like that means he is there. Like, while Vida's fighting the vampire god to protect Mr. Pom Pom Head, Makito from the Super Sentai is just passed out between 2 of the seats. It's kind of like that fun fact that they were filming Nanny McFee and the new Clash of the Titans at the same time, and since Emma Thompson and Liam Neeson are friends, she kept sneaking over onto set to hang out with him, but when they would call action, she would hide behind his throne. So when you watch Clash of the Titans and Zeus is like, release the Kraken, Nanny McFee is behind his throne. Also, just dope fight choreography. Can we just appreciate for a second, like the flipping and the jumping on the train? On the train, they're beating each other up, and it's cool. I do not understand what is happening here. Like, they were tight as shit a couple episodes ago. He was protecting them from Mr. Fishhead, and they were just eating the ground upon which he walked with praise. And now, he's smashing them flat with his hand and treating them like vermin. Is he bipolar? I'm aggressively here for you. I'm an angry ally. I got your back. I don't want to, but I do. Imagine you're right in the middle of a conversation and someone says, I want to ask you a question. And then they open up the ground and drop you into an abyss. And you're like, bitch, you could have just asked. You didn't have to tie me up with toilet paper. Why does she tie them up with toilet paper? With an endless abyss below them, you'd think you would want something a little stronger. I mean, 4 strands of toilet paper can't really hold up the average adult, unless it's like quadruple ply. Oh no, the toilet paper is ripping. Like I said, you should have used something more substantial. For instance, rope. It's not even funny to make toilet paper jokes anymore because it so is toilet paper. And that's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. No, you didn't. You have been a total butt this entire time. Shut up, Makito. Also, I like the score.
Onii-chan. 知らないのか。握手をすると友達になれるんだ。
I love being able to speak just a little bit of Japanese when I'm watching this because I accidentally got a pirated DVD and the subtitles are pretty garbage. But also, he didn't call him Makito. Mr. Pom Pom Head just called him Onii-chan, which means brother, which for starters makes sense because Houka has only been calling him Onii-chan, so obviously that is what he thinks he should be called. But him referring to Makito as brother really kind of strengthens their bond, and it's a cute way of being like, aw, he's got emotions now and he wants to be their friend. My god, his wings are nice. Apparently it's not just a Power Rangers thing, it can happen in Sentai too. He blew them up so bad that now they're in a rock quarry. Damn, well, fake out ending. I had fun watching the show. I did think it was kind of weird that the bad guys won, and it ended so abruptly, but all the wizards are dead, so I guess we're done here.
Okay, we're gonna take a brief intermission.
This episode had a plot synopsis at the beginning, which was incredibly helpful.
And now, the 10 Terrors are here!
Also, the 10 Terrors is nowhere near as cool a name as the Inferio gods? So it's still cooler, even if I can't remember what it is.
It's Leviosa.
I would just like to say that it would be really awesome if my Magiranger DVD was this quality.
It's a kid instead of a dog, which for some reason I like less because the kid should be alarmed. But he's not scared of him at all because it's just Frankenstein, okay? They took a complex story about an evil god becoming friends with two of his enemies and learning about mortality and whether or not he really wanted to do what he was destined to do and turning against the people he was supposed to be in line with to follow his heart and just made it Frankenstein. And okay, the original book Frankenstein is also a complex story, but pared down like this, Franken-fucking-stein. So this scene is a complete reshoot because they needed a background that looked more like Briarwood and not Japan. But it's interesting that they chose to shoot in pretty much exactly the same location on a hillside with all that in the background. And given that like the only footage they use in this scene from the Sentai is a close-up of Mr. Pom Pom Head, they didn't need to imitate being on a hill. They didn't need to imitate that really awesome pan shot of him overlooking the city and thinking about killing everyone. But they did, I think because they recognized that it was a good scene. Dude got blown up so hard, he rolled all the way to Japan. He was rolling for like 12 hours. I also really love to hear the voice acting in Power Rangers versus Sentai because it's really interesting to see how different cultures expect different villain archetypes to sound, and they are completely different.
What happened? Why did you save the humans?
The Master has chosen you to be his vessel.
Do you still serve the Master?
おめでとう、ティタン！
魔の魂はティタン、あなたを選びました。
さあ、見せてくれ。絶対神の転生を。
No, I don't.
俺は死なない。
Props to Xander for morphing, even though he doesn't agree with Vida, he is already beating Makito. Also, she just ran all the way to Japan and got slapped right back into New Zealand. Like, that's harsh. You know that rattled her. She's got jet lag or something. And this is so cut up. It is really interesting. They're just using like little tiny itty bitty bits. It's a really much shorter and much less developed scene. This is fascinating. They did a cutaway to him flying up in the air so that they could say he didn't get hit by the train. I mean, he gets hit by the train in Magiranger, but it doesn't kill him because he's a god. I mean, the Rangers and the Wizards, they smack deities all the time so hard that they, like, explode, and then they're just totally fine the next day. We, as audience members, know he's probably not gonna die from getting hit by that train. But Power Rangers is so scared of, like, death and violence that they were like, no, he jumped out of the way. It's fine. I'm not comparing this scene to the Sentai. I just really like it because she says she'll send one member of the team and everyone except Xander volunteers. And then, of course, she sends the one person who didn't volunteer. But it's not like he doesn't care. I legitimately think he wasn't paying attention. Like, that face, that is the face of someone who has no idea what was just going on. He, like, zoned out for a second and then someone teleported him. This conversation is so much more civilized, but I can't help but feel like it's lacking in toilet paper.
So, I mean, I guess it was a 2-part episode boiled down into a 1-part episode, but it is so rushed. All that stuff of, you know, Makito angry supporting Houka, and then when they're walking and he trips and falls in a puddle and she gives him a tissue and they're talking about supporting each other and being siblings and trusting each other, all that character development and emotion, and him helping her even though he's mad at the guy, and the guy being like, why is he so grumpy while he's following us, is just boiled down essentially to Vida saying, oh, it's really beautiful in the forest, and then Xander saying, Vida, and running up. And that's all that. It's just that.
It's so beautiful here.
Yes, it sets the mind at ease. Ugh.
I feel like Power Rangers will do anything to avoid the subject of death. I mean, they didn't say anything about it being dangerous for Udana to give Liambo her magic to bring him back. But when the mom was doing it in Magiranger, the plant was like, you're gonna die! Oh my god! And she was like, it's worth the risk! And the vampire guy jumping out of the way of the train instead of getting hit by the train. The scene where Fish Head guy kills Mr. Pom Pom Head, he didn't, like, in the Sentai, he runs him through, the guy falls on the ground, he stomps on him, and then stabs him through the head. In Power Rangers, they somehow changed it to, like, he slashes him across the chest and he falls down. Cut away. Also, when they show that guy being, like, blowing up and all the tentacles come out of him as he's overtaken by Lord Dark Demon, in Power Rangers, that guy's just fine later. He's just totally fine later, and it's not a big deal. But in the Super Sentai, that guy's dead. He's dead, and the reaction shots of Houka, who just developed a friendship with him, are gut-wrenching. She's, like, screaming and crying. It is a completely different vibe. This fight scene was really interesting because in the Sentai, the vampire god kept doing this, which is very much like a cocky swordsman movement in Japanese culture that I relate heavily to samurai, but they cut it out totally in Power Rangers because no one in American culture does this, and the audience would be really confused. In fact, they used one shot of him doing it and reversed it, so it looked like he was going like, oh my god, like he was wiping down across his face like he's frustrated. This is straight up fascinating to me because in Magiranger, he shoots them with his staff. It is a killing blow. They are demorphed. The explosion is on top of the Wizards, and he does a turnaround like, I just killed those guys. But in Power Rangers, he just throws a light ball at them. They're not even demorphed. It's just a casual fight. We have a cutaway shot to the classic, like, oh, there's an explosion behind me, I'm getting thrown forward. And then the shot where he turns around, they still use it, but they superimposed the new actors, like, doing that fly forward thing in front of the explosion. So they're literally in front of the explosion in full morph suits that is encompassing their Japanese counterparts demorphed. Like, in the Sentai, when the dad shows up, they were dead if he didn't show up. In Power Rangers, when Nick's dad shows up, whatever, Liambo's there. They probably could handle it without him. Completely different stakes.
Nick said dad, and then everyone else said Liambo, and I totally fucking forgot that he wasn't everybody's dad. I was like, why are you calling your dad by his first name? That's weird. I call my dad by his first name, but whatever. It's weird for other people. Hey, I'm just sitting here editing this video and realized I honestly have too much footage to make one enjoyable video, so this has been part 1 of my Magiranger review finale, and part 2 will be out in a couple weeks, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe.
you and the horse you rode in on, you little bitch.